Saturday was all right, wasn't it? Woo indeed, Barley Mumba. What an afternoon. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Argyle TV for our build-up ahead of the Greens' trip to the capital. So they take on Charlton Athletic. It's the fourth game of the new Sky Bet League One season, and it's been a pretty decent start from Argyle so far, that has to be said. Well, I'm delighted to say that Ian Stonebridge, our regular guest on Argyle TV, of course, former Argyle striker, is alongside us for this build-up as well. And Ian, we just had a little look back on Saturday right there. What a day it was.
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it, Charlie? You know, the atmosphere inside Home Park, coupled with the nice weather, perhaps not so nice for the players, but certainly being up in the stand here and witnessing that atmosphere and a fantastic performance on the pitch was absolutely a joy to see.
How key is building on what we saw on Saturday going into today's game as well?
Yeah, I think it's crucial. It's a tough start on paper, the fixtures we've had, and I'm sure the management team are delighted with the start they've made in terms of the points on the board already. But you know, Charlton's another big test, and it's another one of those teams that you certainly look to as being a big team in this division. So it's another one where if they lay down another marker here in terms of it being an away performance, that could be really good and really healthy in terms of keeping themselves at the right end of the table.
I suppose it's probably a bit of light relief, I think, that the hot weather is gone, and it is certainly raining in Plymouth. I think it's a little bit overcast up in South London as well. A bit of relief for these players after what they've endured.
Yeah, the weeds that are dominating my garden are going to be delighted. But no, in all seriousness, I think the physical output the players put down on the pitch on Saturday, you know, I think perhaps particularly Joe Edwards, Barley Mumba playing those wing-back roles where we know the kind of distances they cover, it was absolutely fantastic. And it will have been really important to make sure they've got their recovery right from then. It's a quick turnaround game for a Tuesday night, but I'm sure they'll all be itching and ready to go to get out on that pitch again.
Well, we'll come with all the important team news very, very shortly. Lots coming up over the next half an hour or so as well. We'll head across to South London, to the Valley. We'll speak to Rob McNichol, who's in position, about the team and about how our beautiful Green Army supporters, over 1,000 of them, are making their way up and will no doubt make themselves heard as well. We'll also be hearing from Darren Way, the under-18s manager, and Phil Stokes. Some big news coming out of the academy this week with Freddie Asaka and Joe Hatch called up for the Welsh under-17 side. And of course, the under-18s got off to a cracking start their EFL Youth Alliance League season with a win against Cheltenham Town. So we're hearing from both Darren and Phil. Of course, we want to hear from you as well. You can get in touch in a various number of ways: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can comment on the YouTube video that you're watching right now. We want to hear from you, especially because we'll be bringing up the team news in just a couple of minutes' time. But at Argyle on Twitter, at Argyle on Facebook, or just comment on the YouTube video that you're watching now. Well, we'll start, and I know you've probably watched it about 100 times, but why not watch it again? Hey, let's look back and enjoy Saturday's performance in all its glory, shall we?
Edwards trying to play it down the right, slip from Ward. It could be a chance here for Argyle as Zaz is in space down the left-hand side. Argyle have 3 up, Peterborough 5 back, but they've still picked out Hardy of Argyle, who turns in the area, going to get a shot away, just out-crowded in the end. There was number 10 for Argyle, and then wants to drive down the left-hand side, approaching the area, gets inside as well, gets it in towards Hardy, can't quite get a touch on it, but it's switching from one side to another. Wilson has stayed forward, that's who's attacking it. It'll fall to Azaz, edge of the box, dropping ball, shoots on target. Save by Bergstrom. Mayer can advance from the left-hand side. Can he pick someone out? There's 3 in the centre. Has he got the right angle to find them? Not really. Lets Mumba go past him. Turns and shoots, does Mayer. Bounces around. Barley Mumba! Good save! Good save by Bergstrom with his legs. Edward wants to take it quickly. Mayer, Edwards, Hardy. Mayer again! Brilliant stuff from Argyle, the triangle. Mayer cuts it back from Finazaz! With Thompson playing it to his right. Marriott approaches the area, draws Gillespie, shoots right-footed. Cooper does save, pushes it round. Burrows will come down the left-hand side. Randall's made a really good run through the centre. It's a beautifully weighted ball. Great chance for Joel Randall. Binks a couple, shoots, saved by Cooper, and he picks up the loose one. That falls to Mumba, edge of the box. Beats his man, goes down. Got to be. Penalty. Hardy steps up. Right-footed, scores! Lucas Bergstrom goes one way, Ryan Hardy goes the other.
Yeah, superb performance from Argyle on Saturday. Apologies for a little bit of lag on the highlights, the videos that we're playing at the moment. We'll try and sort that out for you as best we can. Stick with us, though, because, of course, we're having superb coverage from the Valley in just under an hour's time. Argyle against Charlton Athletic, of course. Well, we'll have a look at the team news because I know you're dying to find out. It's fresh off the press. Let's have a look at it now. There we go. The Argyle side. Just the one change made by Stephen Schumacher from the win against Peterborough on Saturday. It sees Morgan Whittaker come in for his first start for Argyle. He takes the place of Danny Mayer in Stonebridge. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Obviously, Danny been a mainstay for the last few years. Whittaker's come in. He's shown fits and spurts since he's been here as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great chance for Morgan Whittaker to kind of, stake a claim for a place in the team tonight. He's obviously had a couple of fleeting appearances. Thought he made a positive impact on Saturday with a really decent run and from quite deep in the Argyle half. So it would be important for him, I think, early on in his loan spell to really lay down a marker and show that he's here to compete for a place in that starting 11 and not just come along and be a bit part player.
Yeah, I suppose that the one that I really saw that he shone in was the cup game here. He just showed that burst of pace, burst of energy. We've seen it against us quite a few times. He's got a great left foot. Hasniel Joffrey, who was here for that game as well, seen him quite a few times and has been impressed. This is his. He has to take this chance, so doesn't he?
Yeah, the team's doing well, and obviously after that performance on Saturday, whether the change is dictated from a tactical perspective by the manager, or whether it's more of a Danny Mayer needing a bit of a rest with the tight turnaround of the game to come in quickly tonight. So yeah, it's important for him with the team doing so well that it's going to be hard to break into this team at the moment, but when that kind of door opens for you in the way that it has for Whittaker tonight, it's really important to make the most of it.
Just finally, the way that Argyle utilised the wing-backs on Saturday, and we saw the importance of Joe Edwards and Barley Mumba. He's been man of the match in a couple of games this season. You'd be hoping again, Charlton, we'll have a look at their side in a moment. They normally set up with a back four. Might be trickier for them to get the space in behind, but that's where Argyle like to play, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought both Mumba and Edwards were really influential, both from a defensive point of view and an attacking point of view on Saturday. And, in particular, I really loved the way Barley Mumba was really proactive on his defending. So, he, every time the ball went into the feet of his opponent, he was looking to jump in front, really, making himself a physical presence and giving his opponent a really hard time, often able to kind of intercept the ball, get in front, and then start attacks. So he was all energy on Saturday. Again, we hope the recovery's been right, so they're able to put the same kind of level of physical effort into today. And some of Joe Edwards, it's almost like we take it for granted with Joe, his performances over his time at Argyle. But again, it's important to point out that those energy levels and his forward burst, the little nutmeg, after the inception he made late in that second half is fantastic to see. So again, setting that example is brilliant for Argyle, and again, we hope they can be influential, even if the tactical setup of the games might be slightly different tonight.
Yeah, I was going to mention that nutmeg, Ian. Bit of something brilliant, wasn't it, from Joe? Well, let's have a look at the Charlton lineup then for this evening's game, and a few more changes made than Stephen Schumacher for Ben Garner here. They've made 3 from their 1-0 defeat against Sheffield Wednesday on the weekend, and a couple at the back. Interestingly, Stephen Sessignon, who of course was here at the end of last season, he drops to the bench. The youngster Charlie Claydon comes in for him at left back. And Lavelle will come into the centre of defence in the place of Ryan Innes. The other change will see Rak Saki, who was signed on loan from Crystal Palace, come in on the right-hand side of the front 3, taking the place of Blackett Taylor, who's actually scored a couple of goals this season. Ian, again, on Charlton, I mean, they have made a few more changes. They've looked pretty impressive so far, but you can't really look beyond that front line of Jayden Stockley. He's scored a couple of goals here in a demolition a couple of seasons ago. He's got 20 goals last season. We dealt with Clark Harris and Marriott quite well on Saturday, but they're going to have to be added again, that back 3 for Argyle.
Yes, they will. It's another test. At this level, Stockley's he's a proven goal scorer. Those are quite hard to come by. They're very much sought after by all the clubs in the division. It can be the difference between the team making the playoffs or getting promoted. So yeah, again, I thought Dan Scarr in particular was excellent on Saturday. In keeping Peterborough at bay, and again they'll need to work together as a back 3 and even at times those wing backs as well to make sure they don't allow any opportunities for Charlton tonight. Well,
there you go, the 2 lineups. Actually, just a little run through the substitutes as well for Argyle. Obviously, Danny Mayer has dropped back to the bench. Butcher, Ennis, Lonvike, Galloway back on the bench again, and Jeff got with Callum Burton in goal. As I said, get your comments coming in on Twitter. Excuse me. At Argyle is where you can find us, or you can comment on this YouTube video that you're watching, the pre-match show, with all your thoughts on how you think today will go, and on that change as well. Whittaker coming in for Mayer. We were hoping to have a quick chat with Rob McNichol. He seems to have just disappeared. So instead, we'll have a look and see how Charlton got on in their game on the weekend. As I said, they've started pretty well. It was a tough game away to Sheffield Wednesday. These are the best bits. Right, I might just put us all out of our misery with that video. Apologies again. We had a few more lined up, but we might not go for them. So, Ian, you may as well have to get your kind of vocal cords warmed up, because we might be talking for quite a while. Anyway, Rob McNichol has now joined us from the Valley. He is on the line now in a much louder environment than we are. Rob, how's things up there, temperature-wise? I'm guessing a little bit cooler than what we've been experiencing recently.
Yes, indeed, but it's that's not saying much, is it, compared to Saturday? You've timed it beautifully, Charlie, because they've just started playing things on the big screen here on their Charlton TV, so the timing's ace. But no, it's a nice atmosphere. It's nice and dry. The Green Army is starting to trickle into the away end, away to my right, which is over there, and we're set for a good game of football. Pitch looks fantastic.
Yeah, you're right to mention the fans as well, Rob, because another incredible amount of Argyle supporters making the journey up on a Tuesday night. We never take them for granted. We always seem to mention them, but I was going to play it later on, speaking to the gaffer and Dan Scarr, but the way the videos have been going, probably not. But both of them mentioned how important they feel the support will be, because Charlton support, as we know, is always superb, isn't it?
It is. It usually is good. It's one of those grounds that's quite acoustically good here. It doesn't seem to matter how many people are in it. There's a reverberation of noise, which you can hear on the speaker system. But all the Argyle fans are in one end, behind the goal, which is kind of nice and kind of traditional, and they will be able to make a good racket, as Dan Scarr did say. The fact that there won't be 3,000 like last year, there'll just be 1,000, but they can still make a great noise being tucked into a sharp space. And it's notable just how often players and managers mention our fans, and that's not just trying to be nice. It's not just trying to butter anyone up. It's a genuine thing. When the chips are down a little bit and you know you've got that kind of backing, it does make a difference. And if you can just hear a few noises in the background, they've come in on cue, because here come the Argyle line up onto the pitch to do their warm up.
Yeah, well, there you go. Perfectly done, Rob. Just one final one for you. I'm just looking through a couple of the social comments coming in to us at Argyle. If you want to get in touch, keep saying it, or you can just dot us a comment on the YouTube page as well. But yeah, people talking about Morgan Whittaker coming into the lineup. A couple of people, Daniel saying that's brave. Callum goes Whittaker. Time for him to stake a claim. It'd be interesting to see it. Carl goes interesting lineup. You know, Ian and I were talking about it, but, you know, it's a big chance for Morgan Whittaker, this one, isn't it, tonight?
It is, and he's come off the bench several times so far and looked lively. Certainly wants to get at people, wants to do something different, offers us something different in the lineup. Whether it means there's a change to any of our approach, I really don't know. Not my department to start getting into that. I am looking forward to finding out from the gaffer afterwards the thinking behind it. But I have to say, during the game on Saturday, Stephen Schumacher made a change, bringing on Ennis Vermeer, and I thought it was a bit of a masterstroke. The way we changed and played after that was fantastic. So it's definitely an Inchuri we trust as far as I'm concerned. I'm really looking forward to Morgan playing. It looks quite a wide pitch here. Sometimes there's a bit of a trick of the eyes, but I feel like he's going to want to get into channels and stretch the Charlton defence. So always nice to see someone in battle conditions, as one of our former managers used to say, and that's what we're going to get tonight from Morgan.
Lovely stuff, Rob. Thank you very much. We'll be back with you a little bit later on, hopefully just before kickoff, to soak up that atmosphere up at the Valley. But Rob McNichol up there, brilliant to hear from him. Right, I am going to try it one more time. I'm going to brave it, because I want you to hear from the manager, Stephen Schumacher. He spoke to me yesterday just before hopping on a train.
Bottle that type of performance up and bring it out every time you played, it'd be great, wouldn't it? But it's obviously hard to do that. It was a really good display from everyone. Thought it was so hard to single any individual out. Everybody put massive amount of work rate in, and they got the full rewards for it. So yeah, it was good, but that's what's going to be required for us to get any points in this division. You can't drop your standard. We have to have the energy at that level every single game if we want to try and take points. So we'll be looking to do that on Tuesday.
Yeah, the energy was one of the striking points, really, especially in the heat. I got a text off Elliot afterwards saying all that warm weather running out in Spain has paid off. But I presume that's exactly what this pre-season plan was all about, days like Saturday and going forward.
Well, yeah, you want to get your players as prepared as possible and get them as fit as they can be. We have got a fit group last year. I remember our running stats and our distances that we that we achieved last year was top draw, like really good. So that's when we're at our best, when we run, when we press teams, when we play with energy, because we've got some good players, and when you can unsettle the opposition with what you're doing without the ball, and then when you get the ball, can you keep running off the back of them all the time? Then, as I said on Saturday, it's hard to stop. So that's what the tough pre-seasons are all about. You need to get everybody as fit and prepared as possible so you can play like that.
Tuesday is Charlton. They've looked pretty good actually at the start of the season. They got a win against Derby at home. From what I saw, we're unlucky against Sheffield Wednesday as well. What have you made of their start?
So obviously new manager again, gone in there. He done really well last year with Swindon. So I remember playing up against them last year. For Swindon in that Papa John's was it. So they play some really good football. They got loads of good movement in their shape and how they rotate, and they've got really good players. So we looked at Charlton's squad last year and said they had one of the strongest squads in League One, and just didn't seem to get it going for whatever reason. They've still got a large majority of that squad. Plus I think they've recruited well and added some better players. So yeah, they're a really good side. As you said, they played some nice football in the first few games, got a couple of good results. So yeah, and they were unlucky Saturday. It's going to be a tough one.
It was. I think we took 3,000 there last year. It was. I remember the atmosphere was absolutely rocky, and I think for a Tuesday night, I think we sold just under 800 at the moment.
Yeah.
Which again, you can imagine the atmosphere will be huge.
Yeah.
Again on Tuesday, and we're going to need it, aren't we?
Definitely, I think that was one of the. Obviously, we lost the game last year at the Valley, and it stopped our run, didn't it? We were on a great run, and it was where we lost our first game and so many. And I remember coming away from the game thinking that's the most disappointing, because we didn't give the fans anything to cheer, and there was so many of them behind the goal. But look, we worked hard that day. The game was really close, and it was decided on a set play, 2 small margins, and they managed to get the victory. But hopefully we can give our fans who have travelled again in their numbers to Charlton, to the Valley, and hopefully we can give them something to celebrate this year.
Yeah, I'm not going to try that again. It's just it's too buffery. So you're going to have to get used to me and Ian for the next sort of half an hour or so as we build up to kickoff at the Valley, which is available to view, to watch across the world. Just £10. Head to our website pafc.co.uk. Click on the Argyle TV tab, and you can find the streaming options there. Every game that we can bring you, we will do, and this one is available for everybody to watch. And full match commentary will be coming up from 7:45. But Ian, let's bring you back in and have a chat about what the manager was just saying then. And you know, he was kind of echoing the point, I suppose, that we were making earlier on about just trying to build on what we had last weekend, and if you could bottle up what we saw in front of us at Home Park on Saturday and reproduce it every week, then you know you'd be on to something absolutely incredible. But if you can get close to it, then you know you can also have a pretty decent season.
Yeah, they set a really high standard, you know, but not only Saturday, but you know the opening game against Barnsley as well, where you know in lots of ways we're still getting used to a new system, so a slightly different setup in terms of how the midfield and the front line are operating. And Saturday we saw a little bit of switching between that. Rob mentioned the change that was made to bring on Nard Ennis to put 2 up front, which was a brave decision in a way, and showed that willingness not to just stick with what's going on, because I think at that stage Peterborough were doing well in the game. They were getting a foothold, starting to put Argyle under some pressure. So it's really important to I think have those options and to have the way that they can tweak that, not only just the system, but the personnel to be able to do that as well was a really, really key decision at an important point in the game on Saturday. But yeah, getting that momentum going, getting people into the habit of winning matches, creating chances, hopefully scoring goals as well. It's really good to see at this stage of the season.
It is still early season, and we've got to keep caveating that. But we saw last year the run that Argyle went on with that 16-match unbeaten run. Couple of losses, obviously, in the cup competitions, but it really kind of set a good foundation. And you look at successful teams over the years, and I know there'll be one or two that will say, the last couple of times we got promoted, we didn't do so well at the very beginning. But, getting a good start is generally a success, a building kind of block for a successful season, isn't it?
It definitely is. And I think one of the biggest bonuses of these types of performances early on in the year, and particularly on a day like Saturday, where the hard work and the application of the players was really key in the result that they got. I'm sure that the manager and the coaching staff together will be, reminding them and reinforcing the fact that that's got to be their kind of their baseline. That level of effort and work rate is what they bring to every game as a minimum. And we know that the team are capable of that. We know they've all got, they're really conscientious about the club and about the way they approach the game. So if they can retain that and put it into practice and then build on that with the ability of the players in the team, and we've seen, I think, some really exciting additions to the squad this season, that can stand them in good stead. And yeah, it not only the performances but the results, the couple of results that we've had in the league so far this year that are really positive when you consider the opposition. I think that would be something that can give them great confidence as they go into tonight's game.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And you look at the two sides that we've beaten so far this season, two sides that were relegated from the Championship last season, in Barnsley and Peterborough. The blip, I suppose, was the away game at Fleetwood. It was one that many people thought, and I think everybody went into it thinking at least a draw, a positive sort of result. It didn't happen. And, going to Charlton, they're expected to be up the top. It's away from home. Their crowd will be up. What are the differences when you do go away from home that do make it just that little bit more tricky?
Yeah, I think undoubtedly the crowd and the stadium being behind the home team is a factor, but then it's not one that necessarily plays on the mind of the players. I think when you're going to somewhere like Charlton, the expectation levels, I think the manager has certainly mentioned it in the build-up to this game. Charlton, we still consider them to be one of the bigger sides in this division, and presumably you'd expect with a budget to match in terms of their playing squad. So it's, in lots of ways, it's right that their fans will expect them to do well, to expect them to be at the right end of the table. So again, that kind of, I guess, builds up the expectation levels on Charlton's part, but it does mean that I think the pressure on Argyle tonight is slightly reduced. Given the good start they've made, going there tonight, obviously they'll be looking to win, but any kind of result I think for Argyle tonight can be seen as a positive in the context of the season as a whole. It would be really different if we were coming into tonight's game, without points on the board from the games we've had so far, but those two wins put us in a really nice position in terms of the league. And as we said, hopefully if they can get any kind of result tonight, that continues a good run and keeps that momentum going.
Hopefully, indeed. Keep your comments coming in on social media at Argyle on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook as well at Argyle. And you can comment on the YouTube video below. We want to keep hearing from you, please. Right, we're just over half an hour away from kickoff at the Valley. Full match commentary to come on Argyle TV. And up next, we'll be hearing from the academy side of things because they got their season started. Darren Way and Phil Stokes coming up next.
Ball in, good goal, Still Pilgrims in progress into the second division.
Right, so you're watching Argyle TV with Charlie Price and Ian Stone, but just time to have a chat with Darren Way, our under-18s manager, who joins us from home. Darren, hello, good evening, hope you're well.
How are we, Charlie? You okay?
Brilliant, mate. Just looking forward to another great game of Sky Bet League One football. Argyle against Charlton should be an interesting one. You guys though got your season kicked off on the weekend. Tell us about it. Fantastic win.
Great win, really good to score 4 goals away from home. Cheltenham's always been a bogey team to us over the last 2.5 seasons now, but I'm pleased to say we come away with the win. I thought the players managed the expectations from last season really well, and there was a lot of pressure on this group to make sure we finished our first game with 3 points. We left early in the morning, as you can imagine. It's up at 6 o'clock, and we're away by 6:45. So psychologically, in the heat, I was really pleased with the way the group responded to dealing with that side of the game. So yeah, really pleasing. The staff were pleased, and some excellent individual performances.
You mentioned it being a tough game. Just following it from afar, as I was, it seemed that every time we scored, they scored. One of those topsy-turvy sort of games. How'd you keep people in check for that?
I think it was a couple of individual errors that led to the goals. That would probably be the area that we were disappointed about. But having said that, the players, it takes some doing to score 4 goals away from home. And it was a great experience for some of the younger lads to know, the standards that we set last year, and important that we maintain them.
Yeah, we spoke about that quite a bit, didn't we, in the podcast that we put out just before the season opener last week, and in the pre-match press as well, about asking you how we get up again to do so well after last season. So to get off to a winning start, you must be incredibly pleased about exactly that.
I was more pleased that there's been a lot of work that we've done. You can see the first team have changed shape, and I'm pleased to say we've really enjoyed coaching that. We've got 1 or 2 players that are playing the Danny Mayer and the Azaz role, which it gives them a little bit more freedom, providing that they play our style of football, and it's working really well. I think most of the areas, the only area that I couldn't guarantee, because it was a new group, because we've had 9 first years and that have come in, that were, that have been involved. I didn't know how they were going to psychologically respond on Saturday. So tactically, we knew what we were going to do. We've implemented that on the training ground. But when it comes to match day in that arena and dealing with that pressure, I thought we were super, super pleased.
Yeah, for anyone that didn't know or didn't see, goal scorers for Argyle on Saturday morning, 2 from Will Jenkins-Davis, Joe Hatch and Cole Gibbons as well, coming in, one of the new guys grabbing a goal. How have those kind of, Joe Hatch is another one who's come up, playing up a couple of years. How are those younger ones, the new guys, kind of buying into things, Darren, do you feel?
I thought they've bought into building relationship. I think Northern Ireland helped that, being on tour and living together for a week. It gives them that extra responsibility to build relationships. And I'm pleased to say, Charlie, I think we've got another goal of the month as well. Will JD's was some strike. And I know he's been nominated for probably 3 times last season, but I definitely think this was one that we can talk about, and no doubt you'll have it on Argyle TV, and
we will.
But it was a fantastic goal.
Yeah, we sort of owned that award last year, didn't we? The Goal of the Month award. But Will Jenkins-Davis, he's capable. He's capable, isn't he, of that sort of stuff?
Fantastic goals. He's an exciting player. Really enjoyable player to watch. He excites you. He shows an unbelievable willingness to learn. He's coachable, and he's got off to a real good start.
Well, let's bring in Phil Stokes whilst we talk about that, because he's normally the man who sends me these goals after every time they're scored. He's the academy manager at Argyle. Evening, Phil. We can't actually hear you there, Phil. I don't know whether that was just me or whether it wasn't, because there's, as I was saying, there's some exciting stuff to talk to you about. So if you are there and are able to chat, we mentioned Joe Hatch earlier. He and Freddie Asaka called up for the Wales under-17 training camp. They're on now. How exciting is that? We've not got you. We've not got you. So why don't we? We'll try Phil again. Phil, just take yourself out. Maybe check the mic settings and come back in. We can touch on it a little bit with you, I suppose, Darren, as well, whilst Phil sorts his mic out. We saw it quite a lot last season with international recognition. Joe Hatch kind of came to fruition, I suppose, towards the end of last season when he got called up and scored a couple of goals for the Welsh under-16 side. But for him and Freddie to be off and kind of gaining international recognition, it's only a good thing, isn't it, for Argyle?
It's great experience for the players. They come back with us, and they sometimes they're coached a different style depending on what their international teams playing. They're playing against the best players in and around the area. And it's a real good opportunity for them to also see where they're at in terms of on an international level. With our programme, we go as far as playing teams like Portsmouth. We will get friendlies in against your Liverpools, your Cat ones, but it's very difficult to do that, where we're based, but we do try and get them games in. So, international football allows them to develop, I think, at a faster rate, and it can become very competitive, and they have to deal with playing against better players, which can only help us in terms of the development, but also the player as well.
Right, we'll try Phil one more time, shall we, Phil? There you go. Right, are you with us?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, excellent
news. Technology.
Only a few years of this, but we're all there. I was thinking I've wasted your evening by trying to get you to come on and have a chat with us.
Not at all, Charlie.
Yeah, just following on from what Darren was saying there about Freddie and Joe, and we were saying about just how much they learn out on these sort of when they go out to the training camps or play with the international setup for both of them, for Freddie and Joe. What do you think it will be like? How much will they get from it?
I spoke to Freddie earlier. It's certainly very wet in Wales at the moment, so they've probably had a tough day. But I think a lot from it, really. The international recognition we've received last year is probably the highest, in the academy over the last couple of years, and I think it's just great exposure. The teams they play against, particularly Freddie and Joe last year in Turkey, Spain, Brazil, and testing themselves on an international level. It is something that we want our players to be exposed to. And then hopefully they come back with those experiences and come back better players, and then, continue their development with Daz and the coaching staff within the academy.
Well, Phil, thank you very much. Darren as well. Lovely to chat to you both. Glad we finally got you, Phil as well. But thanks for your time, fellas.
Thanks.
Enjoy the evening.
Cheers, Charlie.
And we'll speak to you again soon. Darren Way, Argyle's under-18 manager, and Phil Stokes, the academy manager here at Plymouth Argyle, on Freddie Asaka and Joe Hatch's call-up to the Wales under-17 training camp. Ian Stonebridge is still with us, and we've got a couple of comments coming in on the YouTube page, Ian, which I'm sure you're going to absolutely love. There's a couple in there that say Stoney for England. Just trying to find the exact one where it came in. But yeah, absolutely loving it. A lot of people as well kind of saying, Lackdown here going, Whittaker over Mayer shows how much Shuey is trusting Morgan Whittaker and getting him into this lineup. We'll have a little look at the Argyle side again now, shall we, and have more of a chat about it, Ian. But it is a trust thing. I don't remember whether there was a time that you remember as a player when you were kind of thrust in and you thought, this is my big moment.
Yeah, I think there's nothing that maybe sticks in my mind as specific ones, but there's definitely times when you knew that you were part of a squad and you had a job to do, specific instructions from the manager, or maybe even playing out of position sometimes. Certainly in some of the teams that I played in, we had a very different system away from home to home, and that meant quite regular changes in the personnel to match that system. So I was certainly one who tended to play more of the home games during that spell and fewer of the away games. But no, so it's interesting. It creates a bit of a different dynamic in the group, and I think it's really important that those players that are perhaps on the fringes of the starting 11 do feel that they're part of a squad, do feel there's an opportunity for them to stake a claim for a position, and also that the manager shows a willingness to make those changes. Otherwise, you don't want to end up with a squad that is can become divided, feels a bit us and them in terms of players that are almost always picked and always trusted, and others that perhaps less so. So I definitely think that decision tonight to bring Morgan Whittaker into the team, the starting 11, is one that shows that confidence, shows that trust, and hopefully it's one that he can repay.
More comments coming in on this one. John King has said, after Saturday's tough game in the heat, is only one change enough after 3 days? Does it show a lack of strength and depth in the squad? What would you say to that, Ian? I suppose, continuity we often talk about, especially after a win, is pretty key.
I think it is, and although my sports science degree was a few years ago now, I'm definitely aware that they will have, plenty of data, plenty of kind of metrics that will help them make a decision about whether the players have recovered properly from Saturday or not. So I'm positive that they will use that information to make sure that they're, first of all, making a good decision about the team that starts, but also then using that to help them decide the changes that can happen during the game. And clearly there's, I think certainly not just in our division, well, in the game on Saturday, there was an interesting number of changes from Peterborough at the half time. And we saw that, I think, across other leagues as well, mentioning those teams in particular, so that part of the game, I think, has changed slightly, and it offers a different dynamic and does mean that, knowing you've got that freshness or knowing there's somebody that's starting the game but might not be able to finish the game, again, brings more into focus that nature of it being a squad game and not just about those starting 11.
Yeah, I suppose that's the new thing this season, isn't it? Being able to bring in a couple more changes, 5 in total. Keep your comments coming in at Argyle. You can find us on YouTube as well if you're watching along. Just give us a comment below. Lots of these now coming in as well. Michael Go's favourite kit this season. We'll find out today what the away kit is like, because I believe they're wearing that one. Let's head back over to the Valley and have a chat with Rob McNichol, who's still in position. Just looking at the pictures from the Valley, Rob, the players are still out there at the moment. They are getting warm, going through their paces. Any sign of any more members of the Green Army making their way through?
Yes, plenty. It's filling up nicely in that end, and lots of. I heard you just mention the away kit there. Lots of flashes of the white stripes in the away kit, which is what we're going to be wearing tonight. So good to see that. To answer that question that came in, that's my favourite kit this year. I absolutely love it. But yeah, the players, I think they're just finishing their warm up. Really, I've just seen our attacking players firing some shots into the secondary goal, trying to get their aim, get their radar on for tonight. I like what I saw. Hopefully it can convert into the game itself, which is, as I make it, about 17 minutes away, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And you can watch it live here on Argyle TV as well. You've probably been down, having done team sheet exchanges, whatever, with the manager today. How's he feeling? How's he looking? Looking like a relaxed character as usual?
Yeah, I don't think you get a lot of change off of Stephen Schumacher, to be honest. I mean, you and I see him quite regularly, and I think how he is during the week and how he is on match days is quite similar. I think that's quite unusual for a manager. I've worked with some managers, sweetness and light during the week, and at 2 o'clock on a Saturday something changes. But no, he seems in good spirits, as does everybody. I think there's always that suggestion, isn't there? You need to keep an even keel, so not get too over the top and excited when you're winning, and not too down when you're getting beaten. And I feel that around the squad there is a good level-headedness around everybody, and that comes from the top. That comes from the boss.
Top stuff, Rob. Thanks a lot. We'll let you get back to your job. You can, of course, follow everything that Rob is doing on our Twitter page at Argyle. We'll have, if you can't get a stream, if you're on the road and just checking out, you can look on our Twitter feed. You can find out everything that is going on at the Valley. As he said, kickoff is about just 15 minutes away or so. Question in from Steve, actually directed at you, Ian. I think you've just looked at it because you're smiling. It's coming. He goes, I've got a question for Ian. Are you more of an Argyle fan now? As I recall in the programme notes when you were playing for the Mighty Greens that you were a Spurs fan. Have we converted you? Thanks, Steve.
Definitely an Argyle fan, but I'm afraid I've never been a Spurs fan. So although I was a schoolboy at Spurs and did an apprenticeship there as a player, I'm actually an Arsenal fan. I was born in South East London, and my dad actually used to go to Charlton to watch the Gunners back in the day. So he became an Arsenal fan, in his younger days, and I'm pleased to say I inherited that from him. So it's Arsenal and Argyle for me now. But yeah, definitely Argyle first and foremost.
Yeah, if you listen to the podcast episode with Ian, we spoke about the kind of the confliction in the family when he signed for Spurs as a young lad with his dad, as of course, being a staunch Arsenal fan. But no, excellent stuff. Let's have a quick look again of the Charlton team. We've looked at the Argyle side again. One change for Argyle, Whittaker in for Mayer. For Charlton, they've made 3 changes from the loss against Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. 2 in defence, interestingly, with Sessegnon and Innes dropping out, Lavelle and Claydon coming in. The other one sees Raksaki come in for Blackett, Taylor on the wing. Ian, looking at it again, we kind of mentioned Jayden Stockley a lot earlier on when we were talking about Charlton and his prowess. He's yet to get off the mark. The one I suppose I'm interested in is Raksaki. Now, I admit I don't know anything about him really, other than that he's an exciting player that Crystal Palace have played a couple of times in the Premier League. His 2 outings have been against Chelsea and Manchester United, and he's come in for a guy in Blackett Taylor who's started the season well with a couple of goals. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes, won't it, I suppose?
It will, and again, I think Argyle have shown in recent years that the loan system and the opportunity for players to come down from those clubs in the higher league to get that opportunity to play is certainly important, and it can be really, really fruitful both for the clubs that the players go to and also the players themselves. So again, it's a chance for him as a young player tonight to show the Charlton fans what they're getting in terms of the loan signing, and also it's an important part of his development. So he'll be, I'm sure, itching to make a good impression both on Charlton and in terms of his employers in Crystal Palace. But yeah, it's again another almost an unknown quantity in terms of Argyle's approach to the game. So from a defensive point of view, that those levels of communication that we've seen being so good over the past few games will be really crucial today.
Yeah, we will see how they get on. Kickoff just over 10 minutes away. Time to read through a few more of your comments coming in. A lot of predictions coming in. Jake thinks it'll be 2-1 to Argyle. Someone who calls themselves Sue, who's in the Man United, the Ronaldo celebrations, 2-0 to Argyle. Ryan goes 3-1 Argyle's. Lots of green heavy predictions here. Thanks a lot for all of your comments that have come in, either on social media or on YouTube as well as you've been watching. One final check, I suppose, before we put our commentary heads on and head across, and we'll bring you coverage of the game, is to look through the other fixtures going on in the division this evening. Obviously very early days, so it's difficult to read really into these matches too much. One to keep an eye on probably will be Forest Green against Accrington Stanley, of course Argyle's opponents on Saturday. Derby, who are coming up for the Greens away to Shrewsbury. Peterborough against Sheffield Wednesday is a standout one, really, in terms of two sides. It'll be battling it out, really, hopefully for them, with Argyle at the top of the League One table. Anyway, we'll keep you up to date with all of those throughout the evening here on Argyle TV. In fact, actually, I've just been told that the Forest Green game has been postponed. That's what happens when you're on live TV, I suppose. But anyway, we'll keep you up to date with everything apart from that one on Argyle TV throughout the evening. A reminder that this game is live for you for just £10 worldwide to stream. You can watch it whatever you want. Head across to our website, click on the Argyle TV tab, look for the streaming options, and you can buy it for just £10. Ian and I will be your commentary team, and the game is coming up next.
What a difference a year makes. Before I signed here, I thought I had an idea, but the reality has been something else. On the field, off the field, On our day, this club is a match for anyone. Limbs at the bridge.
First ball, what's for Jeff got to be on the end of a second? Oh, it's 1-0! Chelsea are behind to lead 1 Plymouth. Macaulay Gillespie, the big centre-back, glancing it in.
Unforgettable.
It's in my blood. It's a massive part of me all my life. Nothing makes me prouder than the academy lads coming through. And we're only getting started.
Argyle has given me everything. It's my hometown club.
What a feeling when the fans chant your name.
We roll with the punches.
We take pride in the shirt.
We prove people wrong.
Next up in 23rd spot is Plymouth Argyle.
We take risks.
We leave it all out there.
We are Argyle.